Right, so in this video we're going to make some survival snares. Now, these snares are going to be similar to UK fox snares, but with some bits missing what would make it legal to use in the UK. I'm just going to miss out a couple of those things because these are going to be made for putting in a bug out bag or whatever and using in the survival situation, so you don't need to put those little things on. I will explain as we're doing it or afterwards any bits I've missed out. And we're going to make this kind of as cheap as we can and with kind of just materials you can kind of get from, you know, most places. Or, you know, the only hard thing to get, well not hard, but the only thing you'd have to pay for is the cable, really. Some of these other things you can get cheap. Right, so I've got a piece of cable which is about 2mm diameter. I actually think it's a little bit bigger than 2mm, but it's near enough about the right size cable for foxes in the UK. I can't tell you how many strands it is because it just came like this with nothing on it, but I've measured it and it's about the same thickness as what you'd use in the UK for foxes. This piece I've cut off is about 30 to 33 inches long. So the first thing you probably want to do, what you're going to do is make some sort of swivel for the end. So you could make these types of little swivels if you want to. Now there's loads of videos online how to do that. But you could do it by getting a piece of wire, bending it double, put it in a vise, put a nail in there and then twist it round the nail. But these bits of wire I've done a couple just to show you, but the wire I've got is not strong enough. It's just really small, you know, kind of crap wire. I did make a bigger one somewhere. I can't remember where I've put it. Oh, it's here. But it's not come out, you know, it's a bit too big, I think. That's a bit bigger. That was out of big thick galvanised wire. And that's very hard to turn, that is, on a, you know, just doing it with a pair of pliers. So the simplest way I'm going to do it is I've got one of these brackets. Right, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut one part off and I'm going to bend one part over. And then I'm going to bend this one up and over. So I'll find my hammer. That's what we're going to use as the swivel. I suppose you could, it probably is best if you just round these edges off a bit. You could do that with a big thick piece of aluminium as well, whatever, like this kind of stuff. That's pretty thick stuff. or like I said, just make a swivel like that. There's all sorts of different ones you can make. And out the other end, out of this piece, I'm going to make another part. I'm going to make like a running eye out of this bit. So we can either do this two ways. You can either just cut it off there, or you can cut each end off there and there if you want to. These have got a crimped bit in the middle, which stops them bending. So it might be better to use that part, maybe. I'm going to cut both ends off. So that's what we got there. So now with our cable, we're going to use something really cheap to set this all together, and that is little small nuts. If you can see that. Little small nuts. I'm going to put that on. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to bend this over and get that back in this hole. Now I could pretty much guarantee that these won't come off. If you was worried that it was going to come off, what you could do is you just put two on. Pull that up as much as you can, and what you do, you've got to get that in the vise the best you can. And then you squash it in the vise. Like I said, if you're worried about it, just put two in there. People use these as gear stops anyway, so that's what we've got so far. You can see it there. You could put two on if you wanted to, but that ain't going to come off of there never. Right, so then, if this focuses, I'm going to put that through there. Alright. And then this other end, I'm going to pass through this, and then I'm going to put a smaller, or maybe a couple this time, a couple of smaller nuts on this end, just straight onto the wire like that. And if you didn't want that moving around, you could put one on, fix it in place, then put another on, then fix it in place, and that will always stay there rather than moving up and down. We'll do that. So we've got one on there. And I'm going to put this on. Then we're going to put two more. Now this part might be slightly tricky to squash these up. This is why it's better. You know, it's going to be quite hard to squash up there. That's why it's better if you did it the opposite way round. Or in fact, this is going to be very hard to squash up now. I might have to take that off and start again. We'll take that off. We'll put this further up. We'll put this on first. Drop that on. Now we'll put this one on. Shouldn't matter, just cutting that little bit off the end there. I've got two of them on the end. Now we can bring this back up. The thicker this is of metal, the better it's going to be. The thinner, the weaker it's going to be, and it's just going to kind of bend out. So you want this part to be as thick as you can get it. Now I'm going to put this one on. Leave a fair bit of gap. And that's what you got there. So like I said, the stronger this is, the better it's going to be. But these are pretty strong, you know, these are for the brackets for holding things, you know what I mean? Not a lock-in snare. You could easily make this into a lock-in snare. Right. So essentially you're actually done there. I'll lay it out and show you. So that's essentially our survival snare done. Improvised swivel at that end. Improvised running eye there. You could put a lock-in one. There's various ways of doing that. And that just comes round to the loop there with the squashed nuts. The size of that could probably catch a lot of things, kind of foxed size animals, if you know what I mean. But like I said, this is a survival snare, so it's not necessarily going to be legal, especially in the UK. Things I've missed out is you would want a better swivel than that, probably, you know, a legal swivel. The running eye would probably need to be a bit better than that, and you need stuff like, I can't remember where, roughly about here somewhere, you need to put a deer stop on it. And you might need, some of them actually have a breakaway part as well, but a deer stop so you don't catch a deer by the leg. But, as this is a survival snare, you may want to catch a deer by the leg, so we haven't got a stop on it or anything. And you could set this up numerous ways. You could set this up on spring poles, you know, all sorts of different ways. Normal snares, under fences, and, you know, between logs, things to lift things, you know, all sorts of ways. Once it gets quite far down, it'll probably lock anyway. It'll get to the point where, now it still will relax off. So you may need to just bend this a bit, get it into some different positions and see how it goes. But that's kind of like a semi-UK survival snare. Not 100% legal, but, you know, good for a bug out bag anyway. Right, anyway, cheers for watching. I'll see you later.